everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I woke up this morning to a bunch of emails saying, see, Pat Brown, we told you Riley Strain was murdered. Why? Because supposedly he sent a text to his mother saying he had a drink with a strange taste, and also the stepfather said he thought he had been helped into the river. So there you go. Proof that Riley Strain was murdered. I get so frustrated with this kind of thing because people are taking things that they don't even know are facts, and they're putting them together and claiming this is proof of something. It is not proof of something. So I'm going to discuss Riley Strain. Was he roofied and helped into the river? And before I start, please, just want to ask you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click the bell, because I'm probably going to have to talk about this case again when I see this kind of thing come out that makes me feel like I need to respond to the public and get some more logical thinking going. Because I know a lot of channels will jump on this and they will turn this into a big gossip thing, and they'll all go on about how he was murdered when there is no proof of that. So let's go to the roofie part first. All right. I'm going to read here, this is from News Nation. It says right here that his mother says she is bothered by a text message her son sent the last night he was seen. And it says here, earlier that night, she said he sent her a message saying he had ordered a rum and coke that didn't taste good. And she said he probably shouldn't drink it. Well, that's a reasonable thing a mom should say to a son. If my son called me and said, gosh, this drink tastes weird. And also he supposedly told her it tasted like barbecue. And I would definitely tell him, dude, don't drink that. Just hand that back to the bartender and say, I don't know what you put in this because it tastes like crap. That's what I would tell my son. Now, here's what we don't know. First, I'm not saying I don't believe his mother. But I'm saying as a profiler or the detectives on the case, the first thing they're going to ask is, can we see the text message? Messages, more than one, it seems. So let's see that bunch of text messages. Did he say exactly those things or not? Because one has to have proof of that before one can say, definitely, maybe something was in his drink. So the detectives would ask for that. I don't know. They may have already had that information. So I don't know if the text messages exist. I don't know exactly what the text messages said. Okay. They're texts between mom and son, supposedly on that evening while he was in the bar receiving his drink. If the messages are true, they exist, and that's exactly what they said. Okay. Somebody who's working this case will take that into consideration. What happened then? So there's a bunch of questions about the possibility of being roofied. You can get Hypno, GHB in a drink. Somebody can put it in there, and it can have a kind of bitter taste. So if he really felt his drink tasted funny, the thing I want to know is this. What happened then? Did he drink the drink? Was he with his friends exactly at that time? In other words, were his buddies with him and they saw him drink that drink? Or did he get rid of that drink and then has no meaning at all? Just tasted crappy and he didn't drink it, or he said to them, hey, take this stuff away. Give me a fresh drink. We don't know anything more than that because we haven't had any information. So one, we don't know if there was any kind of date rape drug in the drink. Two, we don't know whether he actually drank the drink. And this is if the texts are accurate. Now, let's say the drink actually did have something in it. Well, first of all, I'm just going to say this. It could be just cheap rum. You know, I mean, there's good rum and there's bad rum. In some places, well, especially when they get college kids in, they'll give you the bad rum. Just tastes garbagey, you know. So it's possible it was just a badly made drink. Or somebody could have accidentally put something else in the drink that was meant to be another drink, but they accidentally mixed it in because they were careless and it was overwhelming, or it could just be cheap rum. I don't know. But let's say there really was something odd in the drink that was. GHB, Rohypnol, something like that. My question is this: who put it in his drink? I mean, what purpose would the bartender have to put that in his drink? If he got it for, the bartender's making the drinks, he's making drinks for the entire place. Why would he GHB or Rohypnol Riley Strain? For what reason? What purpose would it serve him? He's busy working, so he's gonna chuck stuff in roofie college student drinks for the amusement of it. Well, he could if he were some kind of weird serial killer dude. It's possible, but he's not, because he's focused on him particularly. One wouldn't think. Somebody could say, "Oh, well, it was one of the waitresses." Why? Because she wanted to rape him. Maybe it was one of the guys in there who wanted to rape him. And I guess that's possible too. But so that's possible. Maybe it's one of the security. But the problem is, we don't have exactly any good reason here. And then we have the next problem. We see him walking away. He's in a bunch of video, and no one is ever following him. So, I mean, if I were the person going to roofie somebody for some reason, I'm going to rob him, I'm going to sexually assault him, I'm going to murder him, I'm going to be around to take care of business. And there's a lot of video. There's enough video here where we don't see anybody following him at all. So where's the person who did it? So that's a problem. I find that hard to believe that somebody roofied him with the purpose of doing something to him. Now, is it possible? I'll say this. Sometimes college students put GHB in their own drinks, or one of his college mates could have put some GHB in his drink, because maybe more than one had that, because they like the high they get off of it. It gives them in the morning, they don't have to drink as much to have a good time, and they don't have as much of a hangover in the morning if you put GHB and stuff. And when you put that in Gatorade, it's called Faderade. It's popular. Okay, so could one of his buddies just have been going, "Hey, we'll make all the we'll GHB everything, we'll Faderade it"? Could they have done that, not realizing that he was going to get kicked out and wander off by himself and drown and feel terrible about it? Okay. If somebody did that to him and nobody helped him into the river, then is it a homicide? Well, it would at least be manslaughter, because according to the authorities at this point, Riley Strain drowned. So the cause of death is drowning as of now. If there was proof that he was roofied, that would be called a secondary cause of death. In other words, he wouldn't have ended up drowning if he hadn't been roofied. Since he was roofied, he lost control of himself and fell in the river and drowned. So yes, there would be probably a manslaughter charge. Now, how would you prove this? I've been looking up how long does that stuff stay in your system, and he was found like 8 days later after being in the river. So the autopsy unlikely will pick up anything as far as I can see. So they may not be able to prove he has any date rape drugs in his system. So it would all come down to somebody confessing they put something in his drink. And if that didn't happen, they would have no proof. So manslaughter would be the biggest charge you get if somebody roofied him without the purpose of planning to murder him. Now, if they had roofied him and then he was found raped and strangled, then that's a solid murder, with the roofie being a tool of control. But we don't have that kind of proof here. So the most it would be, if he were roofied at this point, would be manslaughter. Now, then the family goes on to say he was helped in the river. I don't even understand that term. Who helps somebody into a river? Now, I think they're trying to say they put him in the river either because they had killed him with the drugs or something, or because they were murdering him for some unknown reason, and we aren't going to get into the stupid smiley face killer thing. I will link that below, my whole statement, my whole video on that. So please do not go there because it's moronic. So they're saying he's helped into the river. Well, again, there's zero evidence he was helped into the river. There isn't any evidence of that. No one saw anybody putting him into the river. There's no reason why he couldn't have fallen into the river. There's no damage to his body that is like assault type of damage to his body that would prove he was fighting somebody and was pushed into the river, helped into the river. None of that exists. So right now, you can say what you like. Oh, he sent a message and he might have been roofied. Okay. Oh, somebody helped him into the river. Well, these are things that do not, at this point in time, have any proof. They don't. Now, maybe the police know a little bit more about the text messages, but even if the text messages were true, we still do not absolutely know that he drank the drink. And if there was really anything in it, or wasn't just some cheap liquor. Just don't know. So, internet world out there, please, and other YouTubers, please stop pushing this as a homicide. You can say it's interesting information that's come out from the mother. That's fine. She has a right to speak up. But do not just jump on to this whole thing. Well, see, that proves murder. It does not. And I know the family is clinging to this, and I explain this over and over, that many times, rather than accidental death, a family will prefer to think their child was murdered, just because they can't handle just the frustration of it being such a stupid moment, just one stupid moment in my son's life, and he loses his life. That's hard to accept, because any of us who've been, most of us who've been young have known we've done some stupid things that could have ended up badly. And thankfully, they didn't, if we're still here today. But I think about my parents. If I'd done one of those silly things that had gotten me killed when I was younger, my parents would have said the same thing. I can't believe it. She had her whole life ahead of her, and she did something dumb, some little dumb thing. Drive too fast, drink too much, whatever silly thing it is. Decide to jump off a bridge to prove that I can jump off a bridge and broke my neck. I never would do that. But these are some things young people do. And you always hope. And I always remember the sheriff of the small town once told me, one of the things he did was try to talk, especially with the teenage boys, about not doing these kinds of things, because he always hoped he could get them through that period by kind of being a father to them, get them through that period so that they get to the point where they're smarter and don't do silly stuff and get killed. And he pulled out a whole bunch of kids, a whole bunch of teenage boys from crashes and not alive. So it always hurt his heart when he saw these young people on that one moment, that one night. If he'd only just stayed home, done his homework, if he only didn't drink as much, if he only, and families have trouble dealing with this. So somehow it makes more sense than he was murdered. Therefore, you can't say, Riley, why did you do this dumb thing? Why did you drink too much? Why did you? And they can't be mad at their son, then they can be mad at the boogeyman, whoever it is that killed their son. And it's that kind of, it's a weird thing. It's just the way it is. And my heart goes out to the family for that, because I don't know, I did not lose to this point in my life one of my children to some thing like this. I don't know what I'd feel like at that point. Maybe I'd go off on the murder thing too. Oh no, he was murdered, definitely murdered. So yeah, let's tone it down. Let's wait. Again, we're waiting to hear the final stuff. The toxicology report hasn't come out as far as I know, but I'm not sure it will tell us much. And maybe we'll get the final police determination with all the information. I don't know. Or this will go on for years and years and years, like many of these cases do, where the parents refuse to admit or accept, shall we say, accept that their child had an accidental death, and they will pursue it for a decade or two. And it's really sad. But I don't think the internet world needs to help, with this kind of nonsense. So that's why I came out to speak today on this. So I don't know. I always say I'm not planning to do another video on the case, and I really don't have great plans to do. I don't like to do tons of videos on one case because I feel like I don't want to push all kinds of different ideas. But when I see something I think is off, that's when I like to speak up. So thank you for being here again. Do like and subscribe to the channel, and check my playlist for other cases. I do analysis of many, many cases from around the world. So do check that out, and click the bell for notifications. Bye.